And Dr. Lucas is with us in the studio this morning. Good morning, Doctor. How are you?
Good morning, I'm great.
Good to have you back with us here today. What are we talking about?
We're talking about how animals keep their weight down.
Yeah. Well, that depends on where they live, doesn't it?
It depends on if they're wild or domesticated, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
No, we just got back from Africa, and there was this monkey that stole food from where we were in the lodge. So he would go up a tree, swing over to the rafters in the lodge, climb down the rafters, then get an apple. And then he ran back up really quick before anybody could catch him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking, well, if humans did that to get their food, there wouldn't be any problem with their weight because they had to make such an effort.
Probably a lot
To
holes
get
in
the
roofs,
food.
though.
So, and the monkey would go to the tables and steal food, but every time he would steal food, he would run really fast because he knew people were after him. They didn't want him to do that, but he noticed the food there and got it. So, animals in the wild, of course, have to search for food. They have to walk a long way to find food. That's at least like mammals. So lions, they don't eat every day. They have to hunt, they have to stalk, they have to run after their prey and kill it. And that prey may last for 3 or 4 days, and they don't have to do anything else. But they do have to work for their food. They have to be active. And I think that's probably the key to people because we don't, search for our food anymore. We don't walk to the store. It's like drive to the store, buy the food somebody else already made. You don't expend any energy getting the food to eat. And so that's part of the problem is that we eat more calories than we burn. So that's one lesson. The other lesson from animals in general, if you look at mammals in the water, a lot of the mammals have ways of keeping their heat in. So they don't want to expend heat. So you have to lose weight, you have to expend heat, burn it off. But whales, seals, sea lions have a layer of blubber to keep them warm. So another lesson from the animal kingdom is if you want to lose weight, don't live in the water.
Don't live in the
Unless
water.
you have a fur coat like an otter or something like that. If you have a fur coat to keep you warm, you can be skinny.
Yeah.
You can be warm, be up and down.
So we should all be putting our refrigerators in the garage and just sort of keep them out of the house.
We should walk to the store and get one meal and then you can walk back.
That's it.
Or get one apple and walk back. The other thing is
run back.
grazing animals. If you think grazing animals who eat all day, they have a high fiber diet. So they're eating all this stuff that doesn't get digested and it goes on through. But they're moving all the time. And of course the smaller antelope have to run away from the lions, so they're running all the time, running away from things, so they're prey. So you don't really want to be prey to lose weight, but you can eat small amounts through the day as long as you're active. And if you have a high fiber diet, that's good. So the diets that are good, like the monkeys eat, fruits and nuts, and run around up and down trees all day, so they're really active. The lions eat once every 3 days, but they have to chase their food and kill it, and it expends a lot of energy. So they recover. That's why they sleep. The other days they're not eating.
Well,
They're
we
sleeping all the
just
time.
have to go back a generation or two where we look at where more people lived on farms and they worked all day.
Right, and it's hard to substitute for that because that's where the big breakfast came in. That you had to eat a lot of food so you could work hard on the farm or work hard in any of the jobs. They were more active. So the jobs were more active back then, they're not now. So somehow we have to substitute that, whether it's walking up the stairs, parking your car far away, walking to work, biking to work, if you live close enough to do that and it's safe enough. But moving around more is the key to weight loss and keeping the weight off that you have lost. And people go for different diets. I mean, I don't care what diet you use, it's just the activity that really matters. Over the long term, that's been proven in multiple studies. So it's activity, not necessarily the diet you're on, that really help you keep the weight off.
Okay, all right. And how does this relate to your business?
Well, because most of my people are overweight, and people with diabetes have a genetic tendency to be overweight, especially in the middle of their body. So that central body fat is very sensitive to activity. So the more activity you do, the more weight you lose in your waist.
Now, you have, as you said, you just came back from Africa. You saw animals in the wild, but they're all shapes and sizes of animals, and depending on
Yeah, they have big animals. I mean,
Yeah.
elephants and rhinos are very big, but they're not fat. I mean, they're big and they have a big frame and they have to eat all the time to support the frame, they are vegetarians, but they're moving all the time eating.
Mm-hmm.
They have to find new grass and new things that they like to eat, so they're walking all day long.
Okay, so and again, this leads to obviously our own sedentary lives, and what should we do?
So we shouldn't eat as much if you're not going to burn it off.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're really not going to burn it off at all, you really need to eat a small amount. And you don't need to go out to eat or eat fast foods or things with large caloric densities, things that have a lot of calories. You need a calorie budget, an activity budget. If you're having trouble moving around, which a lot of people do, then you really need to eat less. You don't need as much because you're not burning as much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people don't realize that. They want 3 meals a day, and no matter what if they're active or not, they're going to eat 3 big meals a day.
So if they have their carb-laden meals in the morning, it should be preparing for an active day.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, there's really, if you have diabetes, you shouldn't have a carb-laden breakfast, no matter what your activity. You can have some, but you're still going to store those because of that insulin defect you have. So you still need to watch that, because insulin's a whole nother problem. Animals in the wild with diabetes, I don't know if that's ever heard of, but they would die.
But you do have domesticated animals with
Now,
diabetes.
domesticated animals are different because we've restricted their activity and given them too much food. We've given them, food whenever they want it. Most animals would just eat when they needed it. But our dogs and cats who are getting diabetes, and of course the cows that we feed so that we can kill them and eat them, they're different. They're restricted in their activity for sure.
Okay. All right. Again, we're talking to Dr. K. Gene Lucas about Lucas Research.